I have a little update on my Scx24 and some bad news. The bad news is the ECX Garage 124 scale motor won't go in this because the mount holes are backwards from normal. So because ECX did the backwards holes, it doesn't work right on this. I would have to either make a new plate or drill some holes in the motor or something, and I don't have the stuff to do that right now. So for now, I did a few other mods to try out and just experiment with. It looks pretty stock until you open it up and you see I changed a few things. Put the battery where the ESC was. I flipped the transmission. This is not mirroring. A few people have been calling it mirroring the transmission. There's a difference. I actually have a video where I mirrored my old SCX10 transmission. If you want to check that out, I guess I can put a link down in the bottom. Now, the ESC is in the back here, and it's actually screwed into the ESC case, and I'll explain how I did that. But first, to do this, and flip your transmission to get that motor as far forward as possible, all you do is flip this tray around, and you have to undo all the links, everything of course, and flip it, and then you have to put the shorter drive shaft that comes with the kit or the crawler here on the rear, and that way you've got the room for it to move around. The front is just barely long enough, but it seems to be working. Now for the ESC, you need to take this plug out, and there'll be two little tabs on the back. You pull those up and pull the wires out of the plug, and then reverse positive and negative. Then you'll be going forward when you hit forward. This doesn't have a reverse on it, only for the steering, which kind of sucks. But no big deal. To mount it, all you do is, after you've got these wires situated and you know how long they have to be or where you want it, mark the holes, use a hot paper clip. I just used a Bic lighter and a paper clip, put a hole in the side of the ESC, and then put some screws in it. You want to make sure the screws aren't long enough that they hit the board inside. You don't want them to short out or anything. So I just used the screws that came from the battery tray, and I had these spacers that were just right, and it worked out pretty good. I can actually, I don't know how well I can show this on camera, but I can actually tilt this so that I can pull wires out and unplug the lights and stuff and push it back down. So if I take this out, I can actually tilt it more. You can see I set it at full compression, it clears it, and I've got more compression than normal because I also move these shock towers forward. And what that does is when you're going up a steep hill, it doesn't offload, and roll backwards is easy. And that's really pretty much it. I do have plans to run it with the springs off, and we'll compare it. And then I have some sumo crawler springs. I'll experiment with it and see what I can do with it. So without further ado, let's get to the little test video. Before stock, it had a lot of trouble with this hill. Let's see. It just goes right up it now. As you've seen in the slow motion, it actually had to spin out a little bit to get up here before. Let's try to go up this really slow. Okay, so now we're going to try a line that it had a lot of trouble with stock. You had to hit it just right. and it would just flip over backwards most of the time. Look at that, no problem whatsoever now that it's configured better. Now let's try going down. No problem at all. That's it, everyone, for this little test video. As you can see, it did a lot better. It has a much better center of gravity, much more weight towards the front, more clearance under here. It is a little bit hard to side hill with it. You got to get used to it. But I am going to go and modify that tray in there so that I can turn the battery and it'll sit down in the chassis better. But I have to think about how to do that without messing up the shock towers. They're kind of incorporated. So before then, I'm going to go ahead and take the springs off. We'll try it like that, and I'll get some test video of that. And I'm just going to experiment with it and have fun with it. That's what this hobby's all about. So keep on RCing, everyone. Thank you to all my subscribers. Smash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe, because I'm going to be screwing around with this thing quite a bit. It's one of my favorites. I haven't hardly used the SCX10 really since then, other than for a comp. So yeah, TTFN, guys. Talk to y'all later.